The perfect moment. The sun was just beginning to peek over the mountains when young Ren awoke in the monastery. The air was crisp, heavy with dew, and the gentle rustling of bamboo set the rhythm of the dawn. Ren had been training for weeks with Master Daiki, an elderly man whose calm gaze gave no hint of hurry to teach anything. Each day began the same way, sweeping the garden leaves, serving tea, watching the fish in the pond. Nothing more. One morning, as he carefully arranged the teacups, Ren broke the silence. "Master, when will I begin to truly learn Zen?" Daiki looked up but didn't answer. Instead, he quietly watched a bamboo stalk release a single leaf at that very moment. Ren, puzzled, fell silent. The master simply smiled, as if that moment said everything. Ren couldn't stop thinking about that moment. The leaf falling from the bamboo, the master's gesture, the silence that wrapped around everything. It seemed so simple, yet filled with something he couldn't quite understand. In the days that followed, he watched more closely. The steam rising from the tea, the wind playing with the trees, the reflection of the sky on the still water. One afternoon, while gathering stones along the path, he asked again, "Master, why do you never answer my questions?" Daiki, who was meditating beside an old pine tree, slowly opened his eyes. "Because questions are seeds," he said. "If you water them with silence and presence, they bloom on their own, at the perfect moment." Ren frowned. It wasn't the answer he expected, but something inside him began to settle. That night, Ren walked alone along the temple paths. The wind was gentle, and the sky was filled with stars. He felt restless, as if something was about to happen, but it never did. "What is the perfect moment?" he wondered. "And how can I know when it arrives?" Every time he thought he understood, it vanished like incense smoke. He wanted answers, but everything around him seemed to teach the opposite, that there was nothing to grasp. The next day, while sweeping by the pond, a frog jumped into the water. The sound was clear, brief, perfect. Ren stood still. For a moment, he thought of nothing. He simply listened, and that emptiness, so simple, shook him more than any lesson. Ren began to change without even realizing it. He stopped asking questions. He started sweeping more slowly, observing without searching for meaning, listening without expecting words. One morning, while accompanying Master Daiki to gather firewood, they stopped beneath a blooming cherry tree. The wind blew, and several petals spiraled down over their heads. Daiki closed his eyes. Ren did the same. "Master," he whispered. "Was that the perfect moment?" Daiki answered without opening his eyes. "Everything happens when it should. The perfect moment isn't something you seek. It's recognized when you are truly present." Ren nodded gently. For the first time, he didn't feel the urgency to understand, only the stillness of having been there. That afternoon, during the tea ceremony, Daiki carefully poured hot water into the clay cups. The steam rose slowly, as if time itself had paused to watch. Ren took his cup, but before drinking, the master spoke. "When the cup is full, there's no room for anything new. When it's empty, the perfect moment can enter." Ren gazed at the steaming liquid. He thought about how many times he had tried to understand, control, and anticipate, and how, by doing so, he filled his cup with ideas, closing the door to the unexpected. Without a word, he emptied his mind like one empties a cup. Then he drank. The tea tasted just the same as always, but something deep inside tasted different. One day, while walking through the forest, Daiki suddenly stopped. He pointed to a twisted tree growing at the edge of a cliff. Its bare roots clung to the rocks with silent determination. "That tree didn't wait for the perfect moment to grow," he said. "It simply grew here now where it could." Ren looked at the tree, so solitary, so strong in its vulnerability. "So, we shouldn't wait for the perfect moment?" he asked. Daiki smiled. "You don't wait for it. You stay open and ready when it arrives. And sometimes, the perfect moment is you." Ren didn't reply. He simply breathed deeply, as if his soul had finally found space to bloom. That night, as the sky filled with stars and the temple slept in silence, Ren approached the pond. He sat by the water's edge and watched its still surface, perfectly reflecting the moon without distortion. He remembered the master's words, "You must be available." The water doesn't choose to reflect. It simply does. It doesn't decide when to be calm. It simply quiets itself when nothing disturbs it. At last, Ren understood that the perfect moment wasn't a goal or a special event. It was a way of being, a space without judgment, desire, or hurry, just presence. And in that reflection of the moon on the water, he saw himself for the first time, without masks, without questions, just being. As the days passed, Ren no longer waited for teachings or special moments. Every task in the temple had become an opportunity to be fully present. Feeling the broom glide across the floor, sensing the aroma of cooked rice, hearing the master's footsteps echo softly through the wooden halls. The perfect moment was no longer something he chased. It was something that visited him, unannounced, whenever he stopped searching. One mild morning, while quietly sweeping the dojo floor, Master Daiki approached without a sound. His steps were barely a whisper on the tatami. Gently, he placed a freshly picked flower on the low table. Ren looked at it. A white flower, open, silent, pure presence. "And now?" Daiki asked without looking at the flower. "Are you still waiting for the perfect moment?" Ren didn't answer right away. Instead, he allowed himself to fully feel that moment. The flower's subtle fragrance, the soft warmth of sunlight streaming through the door, the silence alive around them. He smiled, not because he understood something, but because there was nothing left to understand, nothing left to reach for, just being. Seeing that wordless smile, the master slightly bowed his head and, with the calmness of one who knows everything is in its place, quietly withdrew. Ren stayed seated, the flower before him, his heart at peace, and he deeply understood. The perfect moment doesn't announce itself. It doesn't arrive with trumpets, nor reveal itself with lights. It happens when you become space, when you stop waiting and simply are. Then, like the moon's reflection on still water, it appears, effortlessly, simply,